Just doing good real quick. Just getting stuff straight. It is a Wednesday morning, afternoon. Maybe it's early Thursday. Depends on where you are in the world. Just getting myself together. And we're going to get into a whole lot of different things. I could talk about the World Series, but you know me. I'm going to probably talk about that Michael Jordan quote about how you feel about load management. I think I'm going to tap into that because I think that was front and center. And let's see, we're gonna get this thing going. We're gonna get this thing going. We're gonna definitely get this thing going. We're gonna, you know, see where we is. Let's see what we got real quick. Put this thing on real quick. Turn this joint on. What we gonna do? Let me get this thing already done because I don't want to be playing. Now come on in here. Y'all can see what's up. Let's see. Get this live stream going real quick. What's happening? How you doing? How you doing? Thank you for coming through. Thank you for coming through. My live reads up. What's happening? What's happening? How you doing? Thank you for coming through. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming through. I am just sending out my notices because sometimes YouTube doesn't do it. So I gotta do what I gotta do. So don't be alarmed if you don't see me right away. I'm not gone. I'm just sending them out. I'm not gone. I'm just sending them out. Mhm. Okay, so here we are live today, just on here today. Now I am back. I sent out everything I could send out. So anyway, if you happen to be on, I am coming to you live. Um, the only reason why I delayed is because I had to send out all the streams and things like that. So I had to go to different respondances, but it is on live today. So feel free to conversate. Thank you for coming on. Um, what's happening? Glad to see you. I'm going to address what Michael Jordan talked about last night in load management and why I agree. You can't go nowhere with no job and dress up for a job and then expect to get paid and and not go to work. So why the NBA is exempt for it? It's embarrassing. He was right about what he said about, he talking about Kawhi Leonard and LeBron James, but I blame it on the commissioner. If you have a boss that lets people sit there in street clothes and do what they want to do and regulate, then you're making a mockery of the hardworking people, and it looks like that's whoever in charge is just kind of thumbing their nose at what's going on. So I have no problem whatsoever with Michael Jordan said, and it's just like if you're a regular worker, you can get your clothes on, you got to go to work. To sit there and act like you're that important or act indifferent to it is just not right. So if you go see a music artist, you don't want to go to a concert where they lip syncing the whole show, or they don't. They're letting the audience do the work. They're not doing the work. It's not worth your price ticket, not your paid admission. So, um, it's one of those things that it just doesn't look good. So I think that that's something that, it's important that it's talked about. People understand when I watched his interviews, they're pre-recorded. He's not doing what we call a play-by-play, blow by blow. He ain't gonna sit there and analyze and talk, because too many people would have a problem if he was to. Well, see, first of all, there ain't nothing to analyze because all they do is shoot 3 pointers and they play one style today. So it's not exactly brain surgery today. So anyway, I understand why you just do tape delays and what have you. So anyway, that's all I'm saying about that. But anyway, thank you for coming in. And I think load management applies to any type of work that you're doing. I don't think it's just regulated to the NBA, because you can't go nowhere where you can work and be half-hearted. Usually, most places, you know, Walmart won't let you just walk around and be half nonchalant about what you do. So why should it be pertain to NBA? I don't know. Thank you so much for coming to appreciate you. Well, Charlene, usually you ask me questions that I gotta think. This is a no-brainer. It's Tom Hanks. However, if you're asking me who got the more bang for their buck, I tell you Jim Carrey. But if you're asking me who had the more memorable, it's Tom Hanks. That's. Don't take this the wrong way, but that's almost like a comical, because I get where you're coming from. They both did do comedy. It's just that when you think about Tom Hanks, somehow you look at Tom Hanks and you think like he's with Denzel Washington, but you don't look at Jim Carrey with Eddie Murphy. You know what I mean? But I get what you're saying because they both were comedians. You know, I get what you're saying, and actually, you make sense. It's just that I'm dumb in the sense that I forget about bosom buddies. I watched Tom Hanks when he first came out, and I watched Jim Carrey. It's just that Tom Hanks then becomes such a slickster that you forget about his humble beginnings. You forget. It's kind of like, oh yeah, uh, it's kind of like, uh, I forgot what that But that's actually, it's a good question. It's just that because Tom Hanks has been so decorated and he's exceeded, where Jim Carrey was like almost like a novelty, Dumb and Dumber, and he kind of got typecast for a certain type of acting, slapstick with the most puerile, and you almost forget about Jim Carrey in terms of whereas Tom Hanks been romanticized, so you know. Cause like ask yourself, could you see Jim Carrey pulling off Forrest Gump? I mean, it's just they hit differently. But actually, it's a good question. That's actually a really good question, especially when you think about cats who've had, you know. And if you ask me who's naturally funny of the two, is Jim Carrey. I like Tom Hanks's Saturday Night Live spoof when he. I'm gonna use these for future ones. So let me go ahead and write these down, and then I'm gonna answer you real quick. This is a good question. Sadly, uh, good question. Sadly, and I'm gonna tell you why I say sadly. Because I think Johnny Depp should run circles around Brad Pitt, but the Pirates of the Caribbean is the sequels. What he looked like, he was supposed to be He turned into like a Junior Whopper version. Okay, thank you. Uh, he turned into a Junior Whopper version of Mickey Rourke, Johnny Depp, where he's supposed to have been channeling Pacino, and Brad Pitt was supposed to be channeling Robert Redford, imagery and vibe. I'm gonna say Johnny Depp because I think he's the better actor, but I gotta give it to Depp. I gotta give it to Depp. But they both fell off in different ways. I think Depp didn't quite reach his full potential, and I think Brad Pitt, pretty boy shenanigans and all that aside, it just I don't know, it kind of came and went, you know. So I that's how I look at him. That's how I look at him. But you know, it's a good question though. That's a real good question. It's tough for me because I want to say Johnny Depp kicked that butt, and I like Johnny Depp better. I'm not gonna lie though, it's closer than it should be because Johnny Depp then almost become like, I don't want to say character, but he didn't really go to other levels like I thought. He had more intriguing movies when he was younger, and he had more versatility. And like when I watched Donnie Brasco, I got to remind myself this guy kept doing Pirates of the Caribbean or Wally Wonka Chocolate Factory. He did these, and they're part of his eccentricities. But then where did he go with himself as a filmmaking eye? It's very debatable. It's very, but the good question though, and I'm gonna use both of them. Now, if you can come up with one more, I'll make it into a trifecta for a future one. And I will use the videos for a future. They're not going to be in the immediate, but they will be for a future. Because I have to, unless you really say something that I go, whoa, I got to have it. No, no. How you doing, Timothy? No, he's not. Stop, 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 stop. He got to win a chip. He's got to be in contention for a chip, and then he's got to take over. I can't say that. He's looking good so far, but we're only 4 or 5 games in the season. And let me ask me when we get to game 82 and he gets to the finals, if he can pull off what Shay just pulled off, then we can have a discussion. I think Aladdin. Magic Johnson did, my friend. If you don't know that, do your history. Don't ask me questions if you don't come in here real red, because you're not dealing with amateur night. 2021 was still heck of impressive what Magic Johnson accomplished to lead a team. Okay, lead a team. Duncan wasn't 21 or 22, but he led a team his second year. Uh, the thing is, Wemby's been in the league how long now? So now, you know, that's all I'm saying. You're going by what it looked like. I got to see the totality. Yeah, you got to win. And you want to win. That's what you're playing for. We're playing for legacy. We ain't playing for conversation. Shoot. You want him to be conversation. He can be Joel Embiid. Yes, he did. Kareem got hurt. He led for game 6. He did. He played all 5 positions too, by the way. Look it up. Finals against the Sixers. Oh, if you're talking solo career, Springsteen in a blowout, Mick Jagger ain't got nothing on him in terms of a solo career. Jagger would be a third tier artist if it was solo. He got better songs because of the Rolling Stones, and he's one of the baddest frontmen. But solo ain't much to him. Springsteen tears his behind up. So you're asking me solo to solo, male to male, Springsteen tear that butt up. It ain't up for discussion. Springsteen's a better artist solo. Jagger was always like a copycat. He was like a generic white dude trying to mock stuff when he was solo. I don't care for his solo career at all. He worked with Nile Rodgers. That came out 40 years ago. He did State of Shock with Michael Jackson, which was an afterthought because originally it was supposed to be Michael and Freddie Mercury. That's the politics in the industry. But the dance in the streets with him and Jagger was horrible. His solo career was corny. But with the Stones, you see, no one ever talks about that because everyone thinks about them lips. Let me ask you what, teammate. It doesn't have to be comparable. What you got to understand something is that Magic came in and coined a phrase called Showtime, pushed the ball, and actually he sucked life into Kareem. You ain't got me on that because verbatim, I'm addressing it right now. If you listen, Magic had his own flair. He was the anti Kareem style wise. You had Jamal Wilkes and you had Norm Nixon, but Magic was so distinctive that they made the team around him. They were remember he led against Daryl Dawkins, Dr. J, Game 6 in the finals. Played all 5 positions, scored 40+ points, rebounds, assists. Played an all around game. So no, you ain't got me on that. And you don't have to have a team compared to Kareem because see, if Wemby plays off of what they got in this era, he can look like both of them. He can look like Magic and Kareem and Jamal Wilkes rolling the one if he plays his card right, stays healthy, and he gets the support he needs. No, when you're a leader, you're a leader. You know what I mean? No, I'm hearing about all this and who you that because Magic made that team about him. That was the turn. That was the takeover. There ain't been another duo like Magic and Kareem. There hasn't been. You can bring up Jordan and Pippen, but the thing about Magic and Kareem is that Magic was considered the GOAT, arguably point guard before Steph. Kareem was considered arguably the GOAT. And you can debate those guys. Well, I want to see him win it all. That's what we're talking about. I know he has handles, but I want to see him win it all. That's all I'm asking. Well, see, I don't want to be a victim of the moment. You got to win it. You got to be in contention. When I talk about Shohei Ohtani, he's in what? Contention. I'm not talking about possibility. I ain't talking about. See, the thing is that you get so spoiled by a Joel Embiid who showed you the promise and the puncture in the picture. I want to see the defend the results. You got the goods, take it to the streets. I'm not going to answer that because that's not fair to none of them. Everybody's got their own take on that. I might have viewers who watch, and I'm not going to offend nobody on that one. So, if you want me to answer that, you have to message me on Facebook. I'm not going to answer that in a public forum. They each got their own laws and rules. I'm going to plead the fifth on that one. I hope you understand. You want to talk to me on the low, on FB, I'll talk to you on a message. He is. I ain't changed no statement about that. Stockton belongs top 5. What did I ain't changed. If I said he was, most people are gonna tell you he was all-time assist and steals leader. And that dude could have probably played as long as LeBron because structurally, no one was taking him out of his box. He could run and he could shoot. He just didn't shoot like Steve Nash. He didn't run himself reckless like Nash and Curry. But the guy was one of the most poised players I've ever seen in my life. Gary Payton tells you he was still great. Just lost to better teams. The guy went to 2 straight finals. He was textbook. The equivalent, he was a better version of who I want to pick on. What's his name? He used to pitch for the Seattle Mariners. Jamie McElroy. Jamie, yeah. I'm not going to hold that against him. I never said you couldn't. Charles Barkley is one of the greatest players ever. I think if he won a ring, we'd be talking about him top 12, 15. That's how great Barkley was. Some people I know will tell you Barkley is the greatest powerful. His size and what he could do, he just didn't have the mental. Oscar Robertson called Elgin Baylor the GOAT. Elgin Baylor was a bad dude, and he did all that damage with no 3-point line, hand check, physicality. So you can debate. There are some exceptions that they get, like in football, for instance. Dan Marino is as great as any quarterback I ever seen as far as talent goes. No one can throw that thing like him. Even Joe Montana gives it up for him. Baseball, we don't say that in baseball because Barry Bonds, baseball, it only comes out, I don't think Kevin Johnson was the right mix for him. I like KJ. Kevin Johnson is a real polarizing cat, and only because where does he fit? Athletic, he was talented and everything, but where does he fit? And see, this is one of the problems that he's going to run into. Can you put them with the first tier cats like with Curry, Magic, Oscar Robinson, Isaiah, and Stockton? And then you got the Jason Kidds of the world, the Gary Paytons of the world. Somebody may say Bob Cousy Nash, who was bigger than it. Oh, LL. Big Heavy D was never big, except size wise. He was never. He was the guy that people went to for the hooks. Yes, you saw him with Janet and Michael and all that, and he was safe. And he had a what I call a middle of the road persona. But LL was bigger. LL was in Crush Groove and solo career. It wasn't, you know, no, no. That one's not really debatable. And they were all old. And they went to the West Coast Finals, Stockton beat their butt. Remember, top of the key shot. Thank you. You just answered my question. You remember what I just said? You just answered it. And Hakeem was past long in the tooth. Drexler was getting long in the tooth, and Barkley was too. They weren't in their peak in their prime. If that 97 was 87 or anywhere from 87 to about 95, they're winning together. But they had gotten long in the tooth by 97. They could still play because his body was breaking down. Doesn't make no difference. So use logic. When you see Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, does Aaron Rodgers look as good as Tom Brady did at 40 plus? No. Aaron Rodgers gives you some good, but he gets sacked, he gets interceptions. He's not the same cat he was 4 or 5 years ago. Don't compare guys his age because everybody doesn't progress the same. Some people fall off. Some people he had a great career, but he was very spent. Dream shake for like 30 years is gonna catch up with you. Jordan did retire a couple of times, so keep that in mind. And he came back when he came back with Washington. He looked old. He had moments, but he looked old. Play long enough, it's gonna catch up with you. Care who you is. I saw it with Kobe, obviously with Shaq. That doesn't mean anything. Jordan was near the end of his miles with the Bulls in '98, and he was about done. You gotta remember something. Let me throw something at you before you say these things, because I gotta put you on the spotlight. Guys went to college. Guys played in national. So it's a big difference when you got guys who did 4 years in college or 3 years in college as opposed to cats coming straight to the NBA. It's a big difference. Big difference. You give Akeem Olajuwon 2 or 3 years less in college and he comes straight to the NBA, then that might equal 2 more years of his career. Had a great career. It would have been close because I'm gonna tell you why. They had everything. They were spent just to beat the Pacers. They got over by Utah, but that Pacers series, he definitely looked cracks in the armor. That was a physical series. That was a physical series. And only because the season was shortened. But I don't know because Duncan was coming into his own. I don't know. Duncan was coming to his own. That Spurs team was pretty good with Sean Elliott and him. I don't know. Because Spree and Allen Houston was a nice little story. I don't know. I understand why Jerry Reinsdorf wanted to break them up. I get it. That last three-peat, they looked very vulnerable. And they did. They looked vulnerable the last 2 years. It's just Utah didn't have no center. But they looked very vulnerable. They had enough to win. And, you could have rolled the dice, but then you could have fell flat, and you don't want to take those chances. So I don't know. Can't say that. We won't know. You asked me the middle years against the Rockets, that would have been a compelling series. That could have dictated the front to the back, but we will never know. I still think he got suspended though for gambling, and I'm gonna stay to that. I don't care what nobody says, allegedly or unallegedly. I think David Stern covered his behind, and I think that's why he ended up, playing baseball. But I'm just saying, we all interpret to our opinions. But keep on hitting these likes up and hit this poll up. I won't be here tomorrow. Questionable Friday, and I'm not here Saturday, so probably come back on Sunday. But if I do, but the thing is that I'm gonna be doing my usual 3 streams a week, at least 2 to 3, as long as I get viewership, everybody comes through. And then you tell somebody and you like the show, you keep showing up and stay in my ear, we will do. Yes. Because when you watch old highlights of Vladi, he was just what the doctor ordered. And he scored more than Osateg and Foster put together. And Antoine Carr, too. Vladi gives you 12, 13 and gives you dimes. He could pass. He could defend pretty good. But they wanted Ronnie Cycli. Same tier level. Same tier level. About second tier, you know. Cosmetic surgery. No. Because you're gonna always look for something else to make it better and better and better. No. It's like it's like taking a diet pill. You feel good and maybe you drop some, but then you'll try it again and again and again. Remember when we talk about cosmetics, you always looking to add more and more and more. And you never stop. Yeah, Vladi would have been like Ronnie Cycli. I think he would have been a good fit there. He spreads Carl Malone, he spreads Stockton. And one thing Vladi could do is pass that thing. So Malone could pass, Stockton could pass. So if they utilize one more guy that was effective, I think that was the difference really. And that's the thing. No diss, but Jordan never faced he faced Vladi as a puppy. But they never went against a center that was what I even call a high second, let alone a first tier in the finals. Makes a difference. But they went against teams that took them 6 games because Portland took them 6, Phoenix took them 6, Utah took them 6, Seattle. And you never know with the center. So, I watch these kind of things like that. So it's a big thing, you know. It's a lot of woulda, coulda, shoulda. That's for sure. I think in a self-esteem comes from just getting told that you're loved and wanted and appreciate what you see in the mirror and how people talk to you and how they lighten the line with you. You would too if you're looking at 20 to 25. You would too. Oh, we know it's deeper than you can imagine. And Adam Silver's in on it. They all in on it. It's like, well, I'm gonna tell you something. And call me a conspiracy theorist if you want. If you ever want to hear some real talk, come here to this live. I think it's all connected with Epstein and all the stuff that's going on because I'm telling you, there's a lot of money, there's a lot of people involved, there's a lot of names coming, and it ain't by accident that Michael Jordan just so happens to be giving these deep thoughts like he's Jerry Springer on NBC. It ain't by accident. You know, they trying to clean up something. Chauncey got to snitch because he's gone. Shoot, forget about your coaching career or anything. You just gonna be take you snatch you off the streets. So witness protection program will probably give him an 8, 10 year bid and shave it off and send him off to Argentina somewhere and he become Chancellor Beloops and you never hear from him again. I'm telling you. He got to. He got no choice. They got him double fold. And I did a video about Rick Pitino, who was his coach. And Rick Pitino just so happened to, if you catch my videos, I did a video. I like hearing from him, but like I said, it's almost like Godfather the way they're doing him because well, first of all, he ain't going to waste his time talking about this NBA right now because all they do is pitch and throw and shoot threes. So ain't no deep thoughts about strategizing. Because you don't have to be no Einstein to figure out what they're doing, with the screening. But he's giving subtle jabs at everybody, but what they'd have allowed the game to become. That's what he's doing. And I like it. Okay, Charlene, give me some more acting because you gave me 2 great ones so far. I need one more, then I'm good. I need one more comparable. I know you got it in you. You came up with some good ones. Unless you tell me who's more of a leading man out of Billy D. Williams and Eddie Murphy or something like that. Be something in there. First of all, that shows you how whack of a coach JJ Redick is because it's like, uh, Better film career? Okay, I'll use that. Even though I'm gonna say it like this, Cruz is gonna win because he's the bigger brand. He's the bigger brand. He was actually A.K. Kobe. He was known as the hillbilly Kobe. That's what he was known. That's what he was. Um, if JJ Redick knew what he was doing as a coach, he would have seen Austin Reeves. There's obviously something with Austin Reeves can score. Just ain't the best defender, and they got guys that can score. They be holding people back with LeBron and actually with Luca. They're selling name brands, but they actually got a guy who can score 30 points a game. So they really don't need the name brands. They do need Luca for something, but I don't know what it is for. I just think that they got a lot of dead weight. DeAndre, he's the X factor at the center spot. No matter what they got. LeBron is old. Luca don't play no defense, and Austin don't really play no defense because you can shake his legs at the top of the key. So thank you, Charlene, for Matthew McConaughey. That's a good question. Tom Cruise is going to win because he could pretty much do McConaughey's type of style. But I do like Matthew McConaughey. He's a very good actor. You know, I liked him in that Continental movie and some stuff he's done. But basically, he basically is a junior whopper, Tom Cruise. But good question, though. But that's basically what he is. He plays that cool, calm, you know, smug kind of cat. He's from the Tom Cruise school. Tom Cruise has got a school just like Eddie Murphy got a school, Sidney Poitier had a school, Denzel got a school. When I say a school, I'm talking about where you can see people being cloned. Jim Carrey for me, Sandler's had big movies and he's more like people bond with, but Jim Carrey had the better career though. Austin can't do nothing because he's got to play in the system. That's what's up. But he don't play no defense though. Luca sucks. Luca is the European version of James Harden. And the problem is that the way he ball hogs, guys get worn out. Funnier, Jim Carrey, to me. Sandler is more like cut on that Chevy Chase type of humor. And I did like Happy Gilmore. I mean, he got a couple things I like, but Jim Carrey was more versatile to me. I like Jim Carrey's overall vibe more. Because Jim Carrey could actually do stand up. And he could actually just, you know, gotta remember, shoot, he was making movies left and right and hitting way. He was the first $20 million man. Now that might not sound like a lot or a big deal, but when you think about Hollywood actors, what he was able to do, Sandler benefited from that. They both come from TV sitcom, but I just think Jim Carrey had more versatility, and I think being working with the Ivory, with the Wayans and Tommy Davis and all that, I just think he had the natural. That's to me. I like Sandler, like in the wedding singer and a couple of things like that, but for me, what hits is just different. That's all. All right, let's keep on talking. Keep hitting the poll question, hitting the lights up. I'm gonna use that Matthew McConaughey too. See what we got so far. All right. We need somebody to talk. I like Judge Judy better. Joe Brown comes across kind of pompous. I like certain things, but he gets a bit like he's bought and paid in a different way. He can, but he won't. He won't. They season is a wash. Harbaugh getting exposed, and The way they lost to Buffalo, I don't know how you come back from that. You can't blow a 15-point lead and score 40 points and lose. He's doing too much right now. He got into with Judge Mathis about Judge Mathis' son being gay, and that whole thing escalating. And he need to just stick to what he do. He old timey soul cat that has old timey ways. Some things he makes sense on, and some things, it's like he's just pressing too much. You know, he got some taste of the industry. He got some taste of some stuff, and it either wrecked him or made him kind of get sidetracked. For crying out loud, if it wasn't for the TV show, most people wouldn't even know who he is. I like some things he says. I like what he said about O.J. Simpson as far as, he could go along with the verdict and everything. There's some other things. Yeah, he should not talk about Michael Jackson. Uh, I tell people all the time. Now, Michael, you can say it was suspect. Would you do it? But did anything get proven? Was anything there? And believe me, people wanted to get over that though. Um, it's called structure. Dable ain't got no structure with the Giants. Not really. Not really. Because they're in a sorry but division and they haven't really had to go against too many teams. He can play. He just reckless. If he put structure to him, it's called structure. Who is his running back? Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor to me is just like Saquon Barkley, the AFC. So that's not a surprise. If you can run the ball, you play halfway decent defense. You got Jacksonville, Houston, and Tennessee. So you should run pretty good. And you ain't got a particularly tough schedule. So why not? I saw them being a better team. I didn't see them being 7-1, but I saw them being a better team. Again, they got John Taylor is one of my favorite players in the league. It's just that stupidity about getting to the goal line and dropping the ball. If they don't do that stupid stuff against the Rams, they're 8-0. So you think that's mind blowing? How about the fact that dude don't prance and just cross the line and scores that touchdown against the Rams? They're 8-0. I think that there is going to be a team that benefits from the parity that is going on. So the AFC North sucks right now. And Indy should win their division because Houston is hit and miss. They can score 20 points, but we don't know. So the AFC West is tougher. The AFC East is kind of interesting. New England is a good story. Drake Mayo looks good, even though I think they take too many sacks and they could be prone to turnovers. I still think they can get got, but they definitely on the upside. But yeah, why not? Why not? Besides, the Giants suck anyway. You see, all you have to do is look at where the guy used to be, and then you get your answer. They choked that game against Denver, and then they went and got smashed against Philly. So they where they are. Their coach will be fired, and that's what's up. Because his style played out, and he ain't got no Brady, and he didn't know what to do with quarterbacks. Josh McDaniel, whatever they were doing with Cam Newton, with Mac Jones, looks average, but Mac looks way better in Frisco than he looked with Belichick. I'll tell you that. Belichick looks like someone like he had some video on stuff because he don't look like he sucks right now in North Carolina. If you think I ain't watching their games, I'm keeping an eye on him. Can't keep no leads and getting waxed at home. And the only thing they got going for him is his girlfriend on the sidelines. That ain't distracting them tech because they just losing left and right and finding ways to lose. He doesn't look good. He need to go either retire, get an old folks home, or turn over the money to her and let her have fun, or just stay and play because he ain't doing nothing on the field. He look bad right now. He look really bad. He'll never get back on the NFL field again. Oh, he's been whiteballed. Him and John Gruden are whiteballed. Yeah. Holiday movies. I think Christmas one's gonna win that. That's a good question. I might use that too. Uh, I think Christmas ones get more people intrigued because the thing about Halloween, you gotta it's like a good horror movie, and you gotta have like the right kind of movies that people want to see. And I like the old creepy one. I watched Carrie again. Why I watched that over the weekend. That's one of my favorites for that particular time. But it's hard to beat the Christmas movies. It really is. Halloween movies are only good if they're horror and scary and creepy. Now you could might throw it was his hands, and that came out in Christmas, so again, it's going to me. It's going out to me. I could be wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong on that one. Yeah, there's a reason why I got rid of Bella Cheek. He don't look too hot. He don't look too hot at all. He looked like he just been off a cheat sheet. So that's how I gotta say about that. All right, let's get some more going. We gonna get it going. I'm glad to see everybody's in unison about what Michael Jordan said. I think it hurt. I know it hurts the quality. You watching the game, you want to be, you want to be in a situation where you can appreciate it. You don't want stuff to be depreciated. Uh, Probably gonna say Children of the Corn, but that's not something that I would put as a future question. That's not. Them movies don't intrigue me enough to make those a debate. But I'd probably say Children of the Corn, like Chucky's character, Children of the Corn of the movie though. No, no, and no, and no. See, he won a chip and he looked great and he made himself into a great player. However, in the East, he should be more, if you're dominant, you should be able to put teams on your back. It flopped with Damian Lillard. Drew Holiday was his best fit. Drew looked good against the Lakers, by the way. Drew got outside shot and balling. That's who Giannis needed back. If I'm Giannis, I'm sick to my stomach that guy goes off to Boston and brings them a chip. And he's going further than I have, and I'm stuck with a guy who's better than him stat wise, or is he really? But it didn't work. So underrated is a cat that to me, you see the talent there, but it never got to the next level. Giannis is rated as where he's supposed to be. Underappreciated is what I would probably say. But I can't really say that because he's always in the top three for MVP voting. He has multiple MVPs. Uh, he all-star game, finals MVP, etc. So I can't say that. I like him. I think he's a great player, etc. However, I think he doesn't do himself any favors with, not with the coaching changes, losing certain teammates, you know. So no, no, I wouldn't say underrated. I say a guy like Dennis Johnson was could be considered underrated. Cats that actually did stuff that they were more versatile and they had more of a hand in and they didn't get their due. I can't say he is, but I can say underappreciated. I can say that. Just like Shea Alexander's. I think Shea's more would be more underrated because who is a perimeter player that dominates, has his team as contenders, a situation, and it's just so low key. Gets the Tim Duncan treatment, you know. But Giannis then got knocked out the first round a few times, and they've been coming off flat footed. So we shall see. But it's a good question, though. It's a valid question, though. I get why somebody would say that because he plays in Milwaukee and there ain't no fanfare. I get it. But no. Okay, I'll put that one up. Okay. Let's see, we got anybody coming through? If you're still on, let me know. What's the best one you ever been to? That's debatable because I've seen football, basketball, and baseball and enjoyed all three. So um that's hard to say because they all were at a high level and they were enjoyable. I would probably say the best sport to go see, believe it or not, is probably baseball. Because you don't think of it when you watch it on TV, but it's very intriguing though. Isn't it? Oh, it's Jada Pinkett. Because all Stacey Dash had was Clueless. And Mo Money was decent, but Jada was the fire. Jada was in Minister Society, Jason's Lyric, Inkwell, Set It Off. Come on now. One of the Clump movies with Eddie. Come on, it's not even close. Stacy was always like a broke hood chick, and she got like the sloppy second third. She wasn't seeing Jada. That's the sad thing about Jada. I mean, I forgot to mention Low Down Dirty Shame too. Jada just was in the right things at the right time, right everything. She had it going on. She had it going on. As a matter of fact, she had to stay motivated. She could have been right toe to toe with Halle Berry. And with the knee alone too. So good question though, but not close. Not close. I'm not gonna use that one. But I will say this though. Now you wanna know a better question would have been? Jada Pinkett Smith versus Regina King or Nia Long. That'd have been interesting. I might do that myself in the 90s. Cause I think Halle Berry took them all out. Halle got the brass ring. Regina King got the credibility though. But Jada had it going on for a moment. And she actually put her mind on wanting to do them, before she became Mrs. Will Smith, housework and so on and so forth. She actually, but it was kind of hood based though. They all were in the same ghetto lives. None of them were gonna get Angela Bassett love though. So, but they were gonna be like junior whoppers though in training. Latifah had a chance too. Hmm. That's a good question though. Hmm. Okay. All right. Get some questions. Hopefully somebody come on. 'Cause I want to. If it looks like the people are kind of fading, I'll give it like 10 more minutes. Will Smith. That's a no brainer. Cube did more though for sidekick careers. Will didn't do that till later when he worked with Martin Lawrence. Cube brought all the comedians up, from Chris Tucker, um, obviously with Kevin Hart, with Cat Williams, and obviously he had Bernie Mac and so Cube was good for your career. Will mainly was about Will until he got, and then again he was teamed up with Martin Lawrence. He didn't really bring nobody's career on per se. So, you know. Um but Will was a better actor of the two. You asked me whose movies I watch more of. I probably like Will's movies a little bit more, but Cube got more replay value. So what's happening? Thank you for coming on. Thank you. Now get some energy on here. Now you know if I'm glad you on because that means we're gonna be doing some talking. You come on the right way, we can talk for another half hour. Well, better actress for me is Vanessa Williams, but Halle Berry got the better career. And Vanessa never quite got. She did good to get what she got. I still like her in Soul Food, but Halle had the better career though. You know. Too much scoring. Looks like a video game. I did a video about it. Looks like arcade. It's kind of embarrassing. But that's what Adam Silver wants. I don't really read a lot into things. OKC is still a team to beat. As long as Shea is playing and he's healthy and he's motivated, they're the team to beat. They were normal the last few years. For all the help that Anthony Davis and LeBron got, they don't guard the perimeter. They soften them. The Aaron is actually the center spot is actually the X factor for the Lakers. That's their make or break. For all, no, no, they have better nutrition. They have better equipment, but no, because to say they're more talented is to say that you're seeing somebody. Well, I'm going to address that about Dallas. Do you see anybody that looks like they ain't shooting better than no Oscar Robinson or no Jerry West? If you're shooting so much better, I don't think they got better ball skills than Pistol Pete. I beg to differ. I see a lot of traveling and walks and carries. They are they lack fundamentals. They got a skill set that because everybody plays the same. Imagine if you actually had to play a position. It's good or bad. Everybody ain't Steph Curry. Let me address Dallas real quick. You know why? Because they old, they broke down, and they got big old gaps in them. And you can't replace that for all the scoring you get. You can't replace that they are fundamentally a flawed team. AD getting exposed. He's old. He ready to fall out. Cooper Flagg's a puppy. It's not going to happen like that. That's why I looked at Charles Barkley crazy when he said, "Oh, he's in the best situation," says Magic Johnson. Are you kidding me? Even if Kyrie's healthy, their front looks long tagged. They're gonna get tagged. They don't play no defense, and they don't really, he'll have moments. He's a rookie though. That's a matter of opinion. I don't find her to be all that. I think she's an average actress who looks great, who right place, right time. She ain't better than old Angela Bassett. She ain't gonna take Viola Davis's love. No, she can't. He's still 18, but they made it sound like he was on something. No, she can't. Halle Berry only blew up because she took off her shirt and swore to fish with Travolta, and then had that freaky movie with Monsters Ball, which was the Illuminati with Billy Bob, and then that's what they gave her the Oscar for taking off her clothes. She ain't got nothing. She ain't that memorable. Adrian Brody done won an Oscar since the last time he Fondled kissed her on the Oscars 20 years ago. Brody actually got better works. He looked like Pat Riley in that Lakers series. What has Halle Berry done? And she did a Catwoman suit and all that. What has she done the last 15 years that you remember? Oh yeah, and I did watch that whack movie with her and Wahlberg. And I don't know, because they involved with people. The chemistry was just kind of generic. I watched that mess some months ago. She ain't done nothing memorable. She hasn't channeled anything. Yeah, consistently mediocre. A very attractive woman who's very mediocre as a talent. I'll take Angela Bassett for 500 and leave Halle Berry on the side. I'll take Regina King for 500 and leave her on the side. Even a tired one trick pony like Viola Davis. No. They don't but he can play good though. He's a high volume player. He's good. If they're trying to break away from them Embiid, but well, if the guy's willing to play. Nick Nurse really signed up for a head scratcher. Oh, Selma Hayek in a blowout. Come on now. The only thing Jennifer Lopez got to hang with Selma Hayek was the behind. That was it. And her best days are behind her. And Selma Hayek ain't no great actress, but she runs circles around Jennifer Lopez. That's not up for discussion. It's not for discussion. Jennifer Lopez has had some decent movies, but you can't remember them now. And she should have been. How you doing? What's happening? APF. Should have been. I remember you from the other day. Anything with Fortnite in it, I remember. No, that's not really a debatable for me with J Lo and how I. Not for me. I like some of Selma Hayek's movies, but but she's better than Jennifer Lopez. But that's kind of like by default. Maxie can play, but again, you got to be careful of injuries. It's a lot of things. It's a winnable. The East is open. The East is open. I know Miami's looking good right now, and I don't want to get too excited because I got to be, keep in perspective. Oh yeah, she looks better. J Lo had the better body, but Selma looked better though. Yeah, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. But I ain't feeling either one of them because they won't give brothers the time of day. Not like that. You know, not like that. And you know, Hollywood be some strange stuff. So I no. J Lo was looking good. She had her moments. What's happening? Just like Rosie Perez was too. Just all depends on what your. So was what's her but what's that chick's name? I can't think of her name now. That wasn't good. Nope. Nope. She used brothers. She was with Diddy and she messed with Keenan Wayans and they was choo choo trained. She ain't messed with no brothers for no long term. She used them. She got pimped with it. No, stop with the Halle Berrys. Ain't no great movies there. I liked her, but I never loved her movies. I don't think if you gave Lynn Whitfield, she Halle got fortunate because she went further. She went further than Jada did. She went further than Nia Long to an extent because Nia got hood. Nia Long been hoodville. Nia Long been around, but she got hood. When I say hood, that means they kind of gave her the hood movies. I don't know what she wanted to see. I just think Aaliyah or Halle far as what? Talent or career? What you asking now? Far as looks? If you're talking about looks, oh, I said that's an interesting question because I think Aaliyah would have been better, but she didn't live long enough to get it going. So Halle by default. That's actually a pretty good question. If we're going by potential, I would have said Aaliyah, but Halle got it by default. That's a good question there, better hood actor. Let me write him down too, because Bokeem, I would say Bokeem probably plays it more. Makai had it, and then Makai kind of faded. So I gotta say Booking. Halle been terrible in a lot of movies. They just up here looking at her for reasons that they. I watched that movie with her and the Wahlberg, and I thought that was paint dry, not dry movie. She takes care of herself and all that, but she just no, no. But I got it. Well, when she did Strictly Business, I liked that movie. It was low budget, it was cool, I liked it. I like Strictly Business. That's a sentimental movie because I like the storyline. No, Boomerang was a good movie, it wasn't no hood movie. Boomerang actually had class to it. It's probably the most classiest role she had, if you want my honest opinion. That sound like personal problems, but I don't watch her movies like that, run over like that. Boomerang was actually cool, but she and Eddie seemed more mature. It was kinda awkward, but it worked. No, her best role to me back then was as a crackhead in Jungle Fever with Samuel Jackson. That was the role that I liked her. You won't, because there ain't no great movie she's done. Hallie's a better actress than Whitney because Whitney just portrayed herself as a singer. She was always like the artistry. Even though I did like The Preacher's Wife, but she had no chemistry with Denzel Washington. He wasn't supposed to be her husband. Courtney B. Vance having to be Angela Bassett's husband, but still. More overrated than Phil is Beyonce. Because at least with Halle, once she got the token Oscar, we don't, we ain't been inundated with her. Beyonce, we still got to keep getting hit on. Like they want her to be seen as all this. Halle Berry, the Dorothy Dandridge thing train came and went. She never surpassed her. But people got that kind of, because it just like with movies, you get enough like, okay. But Beyonce, that thing is she do got competition. Which means she ain't got no competition. She ain't better than Lady Gaga. Talented, but not great. Talented, but not like as dominant as she should be. I don't think you understand. They want to make her like she's a love child of Michael Jackson and Whitney Houston. She ain't hit it like that. It's talent, and then there's levels to it. All the hype that she got, all them Grammy awards she got, I ain't heard nothing that I sit there and say, "Oh, she should be supreme." They have you thinking that she surpassed Aretha Franklin and Whitney Houston put together. That's what they have you thinking. No. Well, I might. I might listen to a couple tracks. I might, just out of curiosity. Who do you don't think's on Madonna's level? Oh no, she's not on Madonna's level. Um, Beyonce. Because before you come at me about her playing Chimpak and playing Alicia Keys didn't do. She tone dry, vocal dry. Summer Walker is good. I like Summer Walker. Not worthy of being on top 75 greatest artists ever, but she's, you know. Um Beyonce better than Alicia Keys to me. If Beyonce had Alicia Keys's strident vibe, then I'd say yeah. Who had a better career? That's what you asking? I'm taking Nina, because Love Jones, and of course Boys in the Hood, and she just kept going. And I'm looking forward to her playing Katherine Jackson as Michael movie. Jada, the after the Matrix, she was boring in Ali. She didn't really, to me, she kind of just became a settler. You talking about looks or you talking about the acting? Which one are you talking about? Imagery back in the day, Jada had the edge. Oh, okay. Jada, especially in the Inkwell. She looked good. Even in that whack movie she did with Tommy Davidson, she was some that she had that short bob head. She was on point. But I did like Nina though. No, it was that whack movie? She and Tommy Davidson did a thing. It was 97, 98. I forgot what it was called. But the short bobblehead thing, yeah, Jada was on point. Can't even think of it now. Jennifer Lawrence. Jolie is one of those kind of people. Um, she had moments. She just kind of played with it. Could have been, could have been. But Jennifer Lawrence actually kept it going. Angelina Jolie actually had some of her daddy's DNA as far as having them, but she just kind of act like it's kind of like she did it as a hobby. So there's the difference. That's a good one. Hadley, because by default, because Angelina Jolie just didn't work at it. She had some good, strong roles. She just didn't work at it. She's kind of like a Joel Embiid, if you want to know of actresses. That's how I would describe her. I saw some great potential in the process, and then it kind of just faded. She just kind of went and out. She had some moments. Had some moments. That's a good question. They both are versatile. Both have played different roles. I think I'm going to have to go with Lawrence though. I think Lawrence got a little bit more, but it's close though. I think it's close. I think it's a good question though. That's a real good question though. That's a real good question. Yeah, it's just that she doesn't really stay consistent. Well, Tom Cruise in a blowout. Schwarzenegger got what we call that one trick pony, but Tom Cruise that done all them done all them Mission Impossibles 80. That's Schwarzenegger territory. Schwarzenegger could never do what Tom Cruise did. Never. It's not even close. Tom Cruise in the longevity, whatever you want to say about his career, that's Hollywood's golden boy right there. He's the Tom Brady of actors as far as the success goes. Lawrence Tate. I liked Alan Payne, and it was promising early. He's more geared towards the theater to me, though, more stage. Lawrence Tate gave you more, but Lawrence Tate didn't show more no depth. But I liked him back in the '90s. It would have been a real close draw. I think we're gonna go more towards we already did the Cruise and Brad Pitt, we did up above. Um, I'm gonna have to give that edge to Jack Nicholson. I think I watched more of his movies that I liked. But Redford was bad though. I'll make that for a future one. My two of my all-time favorites. You think he's slick? Uh, De Niro for me. Even though I like Al Pacino a whole lot, um, but uh, De Niro had what I call the more compelling run of great movies. Pacino had big icon roles, and they were like neck and neck, and they are good, great friends. It's just that De Niro to me just had a little bit more going for it, especially the peak and prime. And his peak and prime just moves me more. Yeah, well, if you take the action, because he ain't gonna be. First of all, uh, anyway, oh god, that's ugly. Whew, God, and I was getting ready to say, I got to give it to Latifah in a blowout. I'll address that in just a second. Yeah, because all he does is play action and talks loud and like he's a mad unk, you know. And we never, aside from that one movie he did back in '97, Eve's Bayou, one of the movies, he really don't get to play a lot of versatility in his character. So he's pretty much loud and smoking cigarettes and kind of certain auras. That's all he ever gets to do. So I that's how I look at him. Oh, Latifah in a blowout. LL doesn't show me much of nothing. TV thing is cool. He gets the flex and muscle, but I just don't. There's no depth there. You know, there's no depth. I seen that one movie with him and Pam Grier and Omar Epps, but no. Richard Gere in a blowout because Mel Gibson to me is only uh Mel Gibson's action movies and all that, but Gere is more versatile. Yeah, he's funny for the wisecracks. Like I said, that uncle that be on the grill that talks crazy trash. He got this character about him, and that's what he does best. But when he played Shaft, that was corny and cringy. He wasn't as cool as Richard Roundtree. He's cool, but when he tries to play it, it's too much. Bernie Mac in a blowout. Come on now. Jamie Foxx can do a lot of impersonations, but he can't trigger you like Bernie can. Bernie Mac was a movement, yo. He was a movement. Jamie Foxx, see, this is where you can see somebody and they're doing 99 things, and it's cool. And Jamie Foxx has some moments, but Bernie Mac was like a moment. I'll do that for a future one, though. If you're asking me who's more funnier, it's Bernie Mac and a blowout. Obviously, Fox is going to win because he had the film career. But if you're asking me on strictly on funny, it's Bernie. I remember that movie, Time to Kill. I saw that, but he doesn't really stray from his characters. And again, he was playing a black man that had the white overseers and running. It's kind of like in the Django, you know. I'm talking about where you really are running things and you have something that's distinctive. I'm not talking about where you always, you know, gently. That's not up for discussion. Van Damme was played as soon as he got put on. If that's what you care about, the tokenism. But that's not how I look at movies. And it really is a fixed system. It really don't tell you the truth. You know, I don't look at movies like that. They were cool at their time. No, I wouldn't say you're a better actor because he can't act. He's not that good of an actor. Him and Steven Seagal are kind of like one and one A. I watched a lot of them movies. He had presence in that. When's the last time John Claude Van Damme had presence in a movie? You gotta think back on the way back machine. He doesn't even try to push it no more. I like Jackie Chan. Jackie's underrated. Jackie been around forever and a day. I was watching Cannonball Run with Dom DeLuise, Burt Reynolds, Sammy Davis Jr., Denny Martin, and he was in there. Jackie been around forever. That was back in '80. And Jackie Chan looks good for his age. That cat could be like 98. He's still like he about 58. Take good care of himself. He's one of those. He's a cool cat. Yeah, him and Tucker were good chemistry. Good chemistry. Mel Gibson's gonna win, but I don't really care for Mel Gibson. I don't spend a lot of time indulging bigots, so sorry. I've got nothing good to say about Mel Gibson, and it did become personal. Angela Bassett in a blowout. If Julia Roberts was black and went against Angela Bassett, we'd be having a discussion. If Angela Bassett was white, we wouldn't be having this discussion. The only thing, Julia Roberts was America's sweetheart, and she had some big movies. She was bigger than her brother, and she filled a void in a niche. But Angela Bassett then played everybody's mama, and then ran circles around Julia Roberts, and it's not even close. And looks good to this day. I like Julia Roberts. Erin Brockovich. She's had some movies I like, you know, but come on now. Angela Bassett was bad. Um, that one could be a video worthy because I will say this. I like Eddie's chemistry better, but I think Robin Williams was more versatile as an actor. That's a good one. That is a good one right there. I never had anyone ever ask me that before. Julia's brother is Eric Roberts. Do you remember the Mariah Carey We Belong Together? Remember when Faison Love was playing the minister and he patted the dude on the shoulders? Eric Roberts was the one that was the groom in that movie. I mean, the groom in that video where We Belong Together. And he had that stoic look. Eric Roberts was actually big once upon a time, Star Wars. His sister came along and passed him up. That's an Andrew fact. Yeah, the Robin Williams Eddie Murphy is a good debate. That is definitely worth a video. Definitely. I think Robin Williams got him beat. I think Eddie got more funnier in his movies, but I think, yeah, well, you wouldn't think about it because she left his butt in the dust. And it's a funny story because when I was a kid, he was bigger. Well, now she did that Mystic Pizza, and then before she did Pretty Woman, and then Steel McNold, all that, and no one really knew her. Then she blew up. After she did the bathtub singing Kiss on that Walkman, and she blew up. And then her career blew up, and she got all that. And I think Eric got drunk, and he kind of got one of those cats that had a couple hits, and then he kind of just fell off, and she just kept going on and on and on and on. So, not really caring about either one of those two movies, but if I had to pick out the two, I'd probably go with Alien. But they're not really stuff that you know, if I had to pick out the two, I'd take Alien. But anyway, but yeah, the Robin Williams Eddie Murphy is a good debate. I think he got more out of his acting because I think he was able to be, serious roles, balanced roles. You know, he had a lot of interesting movies he did. Most of my stuff with Eddie is the 80s, some in the 90s. I don't like nothing he's done in the last since Bowfinger. I don't really like the Eddie Murphy movie. I do like sci-fi. E.T. is one of my all-time favorite movies, and I liked uh, Poltergeist and all that. I did. I used to watch sci-fi predominantly along with other types of movies. It's just that what comes to mind. Is Shay Chris Alexander still alive? There's a long way. 78 games, 75, 77 more games left. Let's see how it plays out. Cause you acting like Shay ain't around. Why do people be hating on Shay Alexander so much? I don't get it. The guy's the MVP. They won the chip. They the best team in the West. They still the standards. I don't know why. You know. And he might, if he's healthy and focused the way I'm looking at him, he might have a better year this year than he did last year. If he wins another ring, another league MVP, he gonna be a past Giannis and Jokic because he's a perimeter player. He's scoring like crazy, and you do know Chad Holmgren will eventually get better. Oh yeah, there's no love loss between Holmgren and Victor Wemby, so that should be interesting. That should be interesting how that plays out. He actually is in the act of shooting. There's a difference between him and Luca. Luca holds the ball for like 15 seconds and then he looks to get bailed out and flops and frails and cries. Whereas SGA is actually in motion. His ball movement is actually in motion. He's actually shooting. He ain't standing on top of the key on the perimeter like Luca does and dancing and darting and contorting his body because he's carrying the ball and he could get stripped. SGA, you got to actually check him and respect him because he's a ball handler who happens to have a skill set, but he's actually moving the ball forward. Luca tends to beat his own self up. There's a difference. The thing is this: if you're a superstar in the NBA, you expect to get calls, and that's just how it goes. And I ain't saying nothing new. It's just for people who think that this is, that they always treat the guys who are the MVPs or aggression. Well, I don't know what they mean by a free pass. Um, to some people, he's a junior whopper, LeBron James, as it follows see monkey do. I don't know why he's getting no free pass because I don't think the Rockets exactly blowing up the league. Donna Ross. Because Lady Sings the Blues would have won an Oscar if Barry Gordy don't act all crazy. They would have beaten Liza Minnelli. She was really good in that, and she was pretty good in Mahogany. She sucked in The Wiz, but she was too old to play the role, and she just didn't look right in it. But she showed more chops. Whitney's always played Whitney, and that's better for worse. Whitney would have been interesting if she had played something. Her reality TV show, she showed something, but the movies were, you know, she and Kevin Costner Kevin Costner lost his mind over her, but um, Donna Ross gives me the W. That's not really a video worthy though. But from an iconic black pop female perspective, that's interesting. Overall careers and all that. But then again, Whitney wasn't in a group, so I can't make that comparison. I can't make that comparison. But if I, and she had more success at the box office and the soundtracks did bigger. But as far as the actually on the screen, I think Donna Ross held my attention more. And the chemistry with her and Billy D. Williams was no joke. Whitney had no fire with Denzel or really with Courtney B. Vance in that movie. And her and Costner were kind of cool, but it was cool, but no. Body language is everything. You know what, KD, I'm not expecting a lot with Houston. They need a guard. They're gonna have to protect him. He's gonna have to be the third best option. Some nights he can look to be the second, and he can look like he's the first, but he has to be the third best option. So I don't know where he's getting a pass from. I think he get a pass if he's with a team like OKC, ironically again. But I don't know about the pass. There's nothing worse than the facial dunk. You can get your ankles crossed, and the guy still got to make the shot. But that facial dunk in your face, I never heard a guy who got his ankles crossed as upset as Alonzo Mourning was when Vince Carter dunked on him and he yammed on him and they didn't talk for like years. So that dunk is personal. That's why Shaq never wanted to give up nobody to dunk on him because Derek Coleman, it really didn't happen that often. You know. Yeah, well, I think with Nick Mango passing, I think they're symbolic, but they were playing against they did play up against the Bengals. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Well, yeah, because I mean, Justin Fields, I mean, he had that look like, and you think about it, it took you 8 games to win one game. Aaron Glenn, but they are playing against Fluco and the Bengals, and they don't play no defense over there. So that turned out to be the best game of the weekend. Who knew? Who knew? I'll be watching these games and I'll be laughing at what I'm seeing because there's a lot of humor in them. I think it's funny. Football is funny. It is hilarious. The Minnesota Vikings stuck with Carson Wentz is hilarious. Pittsburgh Steelers stuck with Aaron Rodgers is hilarious. The Giants are funny. The Cowboys hype still is hilarious. Yeah, some funniness going on in football. Shoot. Are you kidding me? The Saints are tanking. The Raiders, oh man. First half was interesting because Washington moved the ball. They just didn't score. Mariota, they couldn't get it in. Kansas City, there was a couple, things here or there. But Kansas City was a better team without trying. Washington, to me, got a hangover from the NFC Championship game, and they better do something about it, or they could be in for a long season. Their defense sucks, and if Jaden Daniels doesn't come back, they really gonna fall off bad. So they shouldn't be that bad with Mariota, but sometimes Mariota be looking like he just is a backup quarterback, which he is at this stage. And you gotta remember who Washington's head coach is, the choke man himself in Atlanta. So their defense is horrible. Horrible. Well, they an old man team. What do you expect? James Harden is old, man. Kawhi is old, man. CP3 is a grandpa. Come on now. A grandpa team ain't gonna just morph up and do something. Barbara Walters in a blowout, even though Oprah's more iconic. Um, that's a good one too. Actually, I'll use that for a future one. That's a future one. And I'll tell you why, because they were both like titans of what they did, impact. When you get women who are taking on news and so on and so forth, especially in a male dominant genre, that speaks volumes. But Barbara Walters was a consummated pro, but Oprah took it to another level. That's a good debate. It's a good debate. Interview tactics wise, I think Barbara Walters got to beat, but Oprah's cultural impact, iconism is on another level. The Sixers. Because the Bulls, Josh Giddey them ain't going to do nothing. It's just eventually they going to lose. And the thing about it is that Philly has got everybody's leftovers that's good enough to actually do a part. Because if Jim Embiid and Paul George can play halfway, you got Maxi's legit, the kids legit, Kylie Uber, you know, what's his butt? He's legit. I think they got a little bit more going for him. I just do. And if you were a betting man, you'd think Philly would come out of the East before you think the Bulls. I don't get excited about the first few weeks in the NBA though. I just don't. Because it's fool's goals. It's just like you see some teams, you think, oh. And then what happens? Injuries occur, and then load management occurs, and then they get worn out, and then they go against other teams. But the league needs the Bulls to be better because they haven't been legit in a long time. So, all right. Keep on hitting the likes up, hitting the poll questions up. People are coming in. There ain't nothing to watch. If he comes to his senses, he wants to get out. They're not gonna do nothing. They don't play good enough defense. They don't play consistent, and Doc Rivers will find a way for them to blow it. I think obviously they thinking the romanticism is like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and it's like if somebody's gonna snatch him. If we're living in fantasy, yeah, you want him to go to Golden State. That's the best place for him to go. Because if he could team up with Steph Curry, and I'm not saying to do, but what I'm saying is if there was a place that he could really thrive, But he has to be accountable for them first round exits he had too. And, and he's not been able to get off the mat. So just saying. I don't get excited about, I'll make observations, but I don't make a big deal about what I see this early in the season. Because once teams start losing, they get a taste of that road. I ain't seen it yet. I'm not big on her. It's what Trump wants. That's what happens when you elect someone who has an agenda that is going to affect you in your tummy and your wallet. See, Dick Gregory, she's not a good actress. He spoke about everything that Trump was going to do, and so when they're messing with you, you know, the pandemic was his flaw. Why they keep electing him? He does everything to make the rich richer and keep the poor poor. That's what Project 25 was about. Common sense. I think it's embarrassing for America to have any problems. You can't be the so-called richest country in the world and you don't take care of your citizens. People should not be homeless and they should not go without meals. They were selected. Oh yeah. It was a Jim Crowism. It's definitely racist. There's agenda involved, and that's what people want. It's the sad part is the people that support him more than him. See, if someone tells you what they are, that's one thing. It's another when you endorse what they are. That's the problem. That's the problem. Especially when they were reckless before, and he's a reckless man with no regard. And sadly, there are people who somehow morph into that mindset, and then they start to cry and go, "Well, you see this coming." It's not about what they desire. I said when you're the richest country in the world with food to supplement, people should have options. I think the people who do go into places because either A, they can't afford it or lost money. I still say the richest country in the world should be able to take care of their own. Food, shelter, the common sense things. That's all I said. That's what I'm saying. There's more than enough money, But when you turn into a class issue and a have not and all that, then you start showing your bias. And that's what they've allowed, you know. And that's a travesty in itself. So regardless of people's circumstances, they should have be afforded the accommodations to the best ability, not seen as another, seen as demonic. So there's no excuse. There's no excuse. Nothing you can say on that. Richest country should be able to support, take care of everybody. That's what I'm saying. Because it's supporting an agenda. Well, he's got Big Daddy to pay for his bills. He had Elon Musk cover him, and he's got Putin behind him. We already know. Plus, he's got that whole thing with the Epstein files, and that's why Charles is messing with Prince Andrew now and all that mess. It's all connected. I'm telling you, it's all connected. And some people want to tie the gambling schemes and scams. It's all connected. There's a whole lot of stuff that goes on. And they doing it on purpose because they want to, with the population. So, just saying. You see where the money's going. They want to put people out of work. That's what Amazon is doing. It's happening before your eyes. Zoom, there's no more. Everything is being flipped. I find it. I call that hilarious. That's why I laugh in most of my sports related videos. The hilariousness. Yeah, he's on leave, all right. Yeah, all right. He ain't coming back. He's as good as gone as Shannon Sharp was. He ain't coming back from that. He can't come back from that because who's gonna hire? Well, if he was white, he'd get a job. I take that back. He looked like Rick Pitino. He'd have a job at somebody's low class college. Yeah, well, that's how it's gonna be. And they got a nice little squad with Drew Holiday running point, and if Dame gets halfway okay, they will be a good bottom seed team, but they'll be a feisty seeded team. They'll be a low budget, feisty third tier team who will give you some problems for a few quarters till you put them away. But Chauncey was over there coaching like he was milking the clock. Literally, he can't come back. You can't come back to that. And he should be able to because if Rick Pitino can get a job, he should be able to. He should. They do what they want to do with who they want to do it, though. You know. But the problem with Chauncey is this: it's the trade off. He's got that finals, but he coached a scrub team in LM because the mob was the mob. You know what I'm saying? Shoot, cats get in the game, and if you got any kind of depth or they got any kind of hit on you or some action on you, well, you play with the big boys. That's how it is. He knew, they know, they know who to throw muscle on. Chauncey always struck me somebody that was kind of wow, kind of loose with stuff. Because I remember when he played in the NBA, he admitted himself he didn't really function the right way for a few years. And that's why he was told around. Because me and Buddy and I used to talk about him all the time. What kind of tier did he fall in? First of all, when you play in high stakes, you don't think about that. That money good, that pat on your back and that window. Well, it's really not really and truly he ain't doing nothing wrong. And let me tell you why I say he's and technically he ain't doing nothing wrong because he didn't play up to his power potential. And he looked like he was going to be a third tier guard who morphed to a second, who had first potential. When he got with Larry Brown, that's when he got his stuff, got his act together. When he got he one of those guys that took a while. It's kind of like with Jason Kidd. I seen this with some guys, and he admitted it, just didn't play up to his potential. And he got that money and that lifestyle and all that, which he didn't change when he got to be a head coach. Um, the NBA brings black coaches to window dress. They'll never have you as a commissioner. They'll never have you as owner, Harley. But you can window dress as a coach. That's the first way that they do you. They all graded. But Rick Pitino was their coach once upon a time. And Rick Pitino's whole thing with Louisville is documented with the strippers and the money and all that. Somebody taught him how to get over. He just happened to be their coach at different intervals in their career. Somebody got him on the track. He was a known shuffler who did all kinds of stuff too. But they had a white guy who taught them the ropes. They keep it 100. Pat Croce was in on. They was all in on other stuff. But you can't do what your counterparts can do. You will learn that you don't have the complexion for the protection, for the duration. You're gonna learn one way or the other. And believe me, they all done it. David Stern had a lot of stuff as a lawyer, as Adam Silver does. They're the mob, they can't be touched. Commissioners don't really get fired. That's why whatchamacallit with the NFL, Goodell is around. He destroyed all them Patriot tapes. Everybody knows. That's why Belichick ain't gonna get no job. He was good, except for that whole thing with the one draft. But no, but you see, he was fine pick too. They pick who they want to pick. They have certain people that they pick. See, everybody doesn't get picked. You got to walk a fine line. And look at Joe Dumars. He was a what? Finals MVP for Detroit. Chauncey Billups was what? A Finals MVP for Detroit. You either got to be very qualified in your knowledge and your skill. They don't never have what we call incompetent brothers running positions. They come with name and credibility. unlike their counterparts. It's the old adage, you got to be 3 or 4 times better just to get one foot in the door. Danny Ainge was never Joe Dumars or an MVP or had a Finals MVP like Chauncey Billups, but he got to be a GM multiple places. There's a double standard. So yes, I go there. People don't like when I talk about the racism institutionalized systematic. They treat who they treat, how they treat, what they treat. There's a different standards. It's not the same. Well, it's just like when Elgin Baylor had to lay in Clipper land for 50 years. Well, his health and they suck. But hey, I give him his flowers. He did the best he could. The team ain't that good, but he got his son to he got cats to the pros. He got a guy a Heisman Trophy. He's got a W. It's not always about wins and losses. It's the big picture. He did get the big picture. So, and the main thing is his health at the end of the day now, anyway. But I do like Dion. I always pull for Dion. He did as well as he could do. You talking about Anthony Davis? Are you talking about Anthony Davis? Oh, you talking about you talking about um they didn't address their defense. If you're talking about the Dion with Colorado, yeah, they didn't address their defense. Well, no, they did get wins. Shoot, the guy had booties sitting in the stands. They ain't always. Let me tell you something. It ain't always about wins or losses on the field. It's about can you get booties in the stands? Can you get the hype? Dion did get the hype. Dion had some people want him to go to the NFL. Dion had some people who thought that he was becoming, if they had won, if they had a done, went to next level. So he did win. He won in another way. He can't win his way because again, these cats ain't playing like how he played. He came in a whole different league. NIL when Dion played was in a brown bag with some girls grinning. Whereas nowadays they gotta act like they're giving you a bag or something. But anyway, I ain't say nothing about no sorry but Dallas Cowboys. Cause the way y'all let Bo Nixon run y'all butt all over the field and they ran all over. I I was looking at the Broncos running game. I was like, look, his jersey, is he gonna have to wash his clothes? Because I was watching the Bills. James Cook ran against the Panthers segment. I was like, they gonna wash his clothes. I said, is it touch football, tackle football, flag football? I ain't see nothing except greenery. Then we'll run over you like Cheech and Chong was out there. All I saw was green. I ain't see nothing. Well, y'all, as long as y'all, if y'all play puny teams, you might, but you suck. Okay, you can't give up. Listen, you gave up 40 points to a Giants team with Russell Wilson. You made Russell comb his hair and think he came back. And that was what, your second, third game of the season? Now we in week 8? No, you suck. You suck. You suck. I think the problem with the Bears is that they're just not that good. They won a couple games. They got a token game against Washington, if you must know. And I think Caleb has got some talent, but I just think, hey, it's going to be some work. And they're not that good. Well, they're not that good. Their defense ain't nothing special. They ain't, look, what Rick Pitino say, Mike Singletary, Richard Dent, they ain't coming, Dan Hampton, they ain't coming through that door. Dick Buckus ain't coming, they ain't coming through that door. They ain't got it like that. They suck. If you don't turn the ball over on them and you make them play full football and you get a Caleb, they're not much to them. Because the Bears have been predicated on turnovers. Even the way they beat Washington, it took all that just to pull that game out. I think the 49ers has got a lot to do with injuries. I think that's their biggest problem. Mac and cheese is okay. Let's not get excited, but they could at least be average without trying. Jaguars' problem is Trevor Lawrence. They just erratic, not that good. They got up for Kansas City. They have moments when they get up, but they're mainly a 500 team. The 49ers, I would say, have a better chance when everything comes together. Jacksonville is as good as they're going to get. So Jacksonville is done. Frisco's problem, Frisco still probably make the playoffs, but I don't think Kyle Shanahan gonna pull out anything unless Brock Purdy's quarterback. I just think that, they got their work cut out. I think we did this one already. And I'm gonna go in about 10 minutes because I've been on for almost 2 hours. So I'll make it a 2 hour day since I'm not gonna be here tomorrow, questionable Friday, and then probably Sunday after that. So I'll make this 10 more minutes. I would start Steve Smith. I would bench Allen Houston. I cut Hershey Hawkins. I think Allen Houston was a good sidekick player. I like how he complimented people. Steve Smith was kind of underappreciated. You could take that ball to the hole. Hershey was good, but I think those other guys got him beat. I liked him more better in Philly than I did with Seattle. In that order, because Spree and Golden State was the truth. Spree's one of those guys. It's just that he frustrated and he just did knucklehead stuff. He could actually play. I remember when Allen Iverson was in Slam Magazine and said, you can keep Jordan's game. I want Latrell's game." Latrell was the street dude. Ryder was nice, but he just didn't stay consistent with it. Stacey Augmon was better in college. Stretch was nasty in college. It's NBA game, so that's the reason. No. I know what you're thinking. Yeah, he more than just being an NBA jump man with Zach Levine. To approach superstar status, you gotta actually be a part where people are scared of you. Everything rolls around Jokic. He has to show me that he can do 25, 10, and 7. Then I would say, yeah. But I don't look at them as a dynamic duo. He's still a work in progress. He's leaps and bounds better than he was in Orlando. But I just don't look at him to pro superstar status. I got to think, that could be a problem if those two are together. Because the NBA is like a video game. Because the new rules they're not holding percentages against you. They've changed the rules to make it where you can, attack the rim more. Along with carrying and traveling, walking, they've enabled more guys to just take the shots. And you don't have team set concepts. But you get people like Timmy was asking me earlier, do I think they're more talented today? It looks that way because they're pushing the game a certain way. When you push the game where you can't hand check, you can't guard, it's gonna look that way. McCarnan is a good player, but he ain't no 51-point guy. He can score, but he better than Gordon Hayward on a good night? No. He's good. Reeves can score, but he doesn't. What happened against the Timberwolves? What happened to the Timberwolves against the first round? And Edwards had him hemmed up. The Turkey couldn't even score 50 points in a 5-7 game series. How he scoring 51 a night? See, that's why. I can say that about 20 other guys too. Who would stop George Gervin's finger roll? Who would stop Bernard King? Who would stop Shaquille O'Neal? Who would stop Wilt Chamberlain? Who would stop Jerry West? Who would stop Elgin Baylor? Who would stop Dr. J? Who would stop Rick Barry? I can throw a lot of names in there. A lot. Those two get all the prominence because everyone, romanticizing it. But Kareem would be unstoppable today. Who's gonna stop that sky hook? I don't think you'll fall out the sky. I think you get to see what you got without him playing tonight. I just think that the problem with them is that they got to find out with Mike Conley. They got to find out with the guard position. They have to see what they got in front of them. They have enough scoring. They can play some without him. He couldn't touch Kareem. He just now learning how. He getting bammed on the other night by who dunked on him? Who was it? I forgot who they played against. He couldn't touch Kareem. No one would stop Dominique. Couldn't stop Bob McAdoo either. See, I can name about 25, 30 guys. Charles Barkley would be unstoppable today, too. But Wemby couldn't stop Kareem. Couldn't stop Elijah one either. I can name names. See, everybody gets that past the usual suspects about Jordan and Kobe. There's about 25 other guys he couldn't stop from scoring. We playing by the way it is today. So, but they have you thinking that the game is more better, more competitive, more all this today. That's the how they hook you in. That's the hook, line, and bait. And then you're playing with three different rules. You have more predominantly European guys, and you're playing with a more casual approach to defense and guarding. Please. Tell you why I think the era is so dumped down. Look at Bronny James. He got a guaranteed 3-year deal. He would never have a guaranteed anything back in the day except a permanent spot in Section 8 in the nosebleed section. No, he couldn't. No, he couldn't. I don't think you saw how freaky Dominique Wilkins was. Nick was a freak. The problem is that the Hawks didn't have anything that offset. He had Doc Rivers, who was a pretty good point guard. Uh I don't like nothing about today's game. There's too many threes. Everybody ain't Curry. There's no low key, no low post. The defense is sporadic. It's hit and miss, and too many copycats in the league. The games are boring. It's hard to watch. It's like watching an All-Star game every night, and that's not fun. There's no plans. There's no scope. There's no agenda. That's what made the Pacers compelling against OKC last year. They sure did. Bird would be unstoppable today. Uh, you did Randy Brown disservice. He ain't even half as good as Doodoo Brown. I'm sorry. At least I seen Doodoo go to the hole a couple times. Bronny James, like he's scared on the perimeter. He look like he didn't actually gotten worse this year. He's actually had some donut games. Hey, one thing's for sure. His dad probably be like in the car ride home talking about, son, you're never gonna break my record. He sure ain't. He ain't got one. You gotta have what? LeBron's got about like what 1,000, 1,200 straight games of scoring 10. I don't think Bronny's got a one yet. If he do, it ain't more than two. Please. Scoring streak is consistent. Bad. It's a joke. Now, Doodoo Brown was actually better than Bronny. And he's got a nice little fade left that he does for blocks off the offset when he blocks you. Uh, but he just, I thought Lonzo Ball, remember when Ball was scared to shoot three. Bronny's too scared because they know he sucks. That's why they will know because he's too afraid to shoot that thing. He looked like a kid that's out there with grown men, and that's how it looks. It's like a young boy out there trying to be out there with grown men. And we're in an era where you don't. It's not even like that, and that's the sad part. That's the sad part. Because in another era, he wouldn't even be he'd be up in the balcony somewhere in the nosebleed section. And see, that's what people really want to hear what Michael Jordan thinks about Bronny's playing, so they can get a clown on. Because it's embarrassing. You ain't gonna tell your dad you're gonna stay at school. If I give you $7 million, you ain't gonna tell your daddy don't mess like that. Shoot. You saying that I put $7 million on you, and I guarantee 4 million right now, and you ain't gonna say nothing like that. He had the ultimate hookup, but the reality is he sucks. But hey, ain't nobody gonna ain't gonna take no high road. Take that money. It's not even about school. He just need to be in the he need to stay in the G League for about 10 years, get to the and then go overseas and maybe come about year 14, 15. Because he looks like he's a good 10 years removed from being NBA level. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Should he just like Diddy? Remember what Diddy said? What Diddy say? I don't write songs, I write checks. At least you honest about what you is. Shoot. But hey, I ain't mad at him. Because JJ Ridiculous has to sit there and co-sign that every night. That's how you know he's a stool pigeon. He's being pulled, someone's pulling his strings. Please. What kind of coach that's worth his weight in the sand is going to be stuck with a buster who scores as much points as he scores? Well, I'm being kind when I say that he basically don't belong in neither league. I'm being kind. He ain't good enough to be in nobody's league. But hey, if he's getting paid to walk up on the floor and move, I'm not angry at him. I ain't mad at him. Daddy hooked him up. That's why they want him gone. They gonna void that contract after next year. They gonna pay that cat not to ever step foot on a basketball court again. He's got this year and it's two. Heck no. Audrey Wilson would post him up and make barbecue chicken out of him. Make barbecue him up. Heck no. Get his ankles broke by Angel Reese and neither. No. He could score, but again, he looks like a deer in headlights. I watch him run the perimeter. No, they won't. I think he look older, and how he comes back. I think this is it. I really do. I think it's gonna be hard for him to get another run. I just don't see it. He done already. I know he's hoping, please, Daddy, don't go. This is the easiest money I ever made. Ain't nobody gonna Bronny. No, it's a bad joke. You can't take the Lakers serious. You can't take the league serious. You can't take uh, JJ Redick serious. You can't dare come call somebody some plumbers and use car salesmen and painters when you're stuck with a cat who can't even put his roller skates on the right way to go around the ring one time. He sucks. And it's showing. So, but I ain't got nothing to do with it though. They're the laughing stock and they're going to stay the laughing stock. I'm gonna get out here in about 3 more minutes because I've been on for almost 2 hours. So I'm gonna get out here in about 3 more minutes. I'll give y'all 3 more minutes, and I will leave this video on for people to watch who ain't came on. So feel free to check it. I'll be on for 3 more minutes, and I don't know why he did because he wasn't contender for no title. I mean, he was getting paid, but I mean, he took care of himself. But I don't know what his purpose was. I really don't. But thank you. Now I still got about four. I'm gonna be on for 4 more minutes. I don't know why he kept on playing. Thank you for your remarks. I appreciate that. I don't know why he kept on playing. I like Vince Carter, but we saw the best of him like 25 years ago. I'm sorry. You played 20 more years, and we pretty much stopped checking for you after LimeWire went away and when MySpace was in these streets. And Vince, we didn't even think of you when Facebook came along. Whitney Houston. I like Anita Baker. I like Anita's songs, but Whitney got the depth. Yeah, he probably will do something like that. Now, I understand why you would pick her. Her albums are probably better. But Whitney had the career though. Whitney got the overall better vocalist impact. But I understand the Anita. I like the Anita's albums. I bought both their records. I like the Anita's albums better, but Whitney got the it. Because you have to style Anita Baker a certain way. Whitney can do all that. That's the difference. When you're compared to Aretha Franklin or you're me, ain't no one gonna put Anita Baker in the same, except from being from Detroit. No one's gonna put Anita Baker in the same sense with Aretha Franklin. That's all. All right. 88% took Michael Jordan. Well, I don't know who the percentage who didn't. That's not even for discussion. Load management was a joke. That should be a straight 100 flush. I ain't heard that name in a long time. You taking it back. I've heard of them, and I've heard something by them. It's been a while. I give you credit though for being Anita Baker supporter though. I do like Anita. All right. I'll give it a call of the night though. Appreciate everybody that came through. And like I said, I'm gonna leave the video up. When you say dance to you, unless you with your lady friend, cause I don't dance to Anita Baker music. Her stuff is slow jam. No, I know you dance slow, but they're not. But it's not. You know, it's not like that though. She never had a dance record though. Well, if you dance it with a female, you gotta. Most women, if you go to the club, unless they really digging you, they ain't gonna give you no slow jams. Fast ones, yeah. Slow ones, no. No. Depends on where you are, who you are. Mine was always like of the, you know. I'm just keeping it 100. Shoot, laughing. Cause Anita be having that drunk singing. Yeah, you be slow dancing. You ain't gonna be. Yeah, no, I'm just saying. And I like Anita too, but that Chevys Regal. I watched most of it. I caught the last parts on video, but I watched most of it. It was great baseball. Great baseball game. Very evenly matched teams. It's one of the best World Series I've seen. And this is one of those World Series that you kind of root for both teams because Toronto's got a lot of firepower, a lot of belly in them. They tough. The Dodgers are they destiny. So they both give you something to cheer for. I think it's one of the most compelling World Series I've seen in a long time. And as a Yankee fan, this was better than with the Dodgers and the Yankees last year because these teams are pretty evenly matched. I think so too. I think so too. I think it's a great series. So, all right. So now I'm gonna get ready to call it a day. I've been on for 2+ hours, and again, I'm gonna leave the video on so everybody wants to watch it, comment. It'll be on. Appreciate when it came through. Thank you. Probably maybe Friday, questionable. Friday with a question mark. If I come on Friday, it'll be on around this time. If I come back, it'll be Friday. After that, it'll probably be the following Monday or so. because I got stuff I got to do. But I'll probably be on like I'm taking the weekend off for sure. I think. Well, maybe Sunday. Sunday's a question mark. But I think I got something I got to do, so I probably won't come on until late. So that'd be like an hour if I come on Sunday. Friday, probably. So Friday. All tomorrow, Saturday. So probably Friday. So yeah. Anyway, and like I was telling anybody, if you want to stay in touch with me, just hit me up on Facebook. That way, if you link me up as a friend, you send me a message. That way, I will send you directly when I'm on. If you can't get on, you can't find me. That's a good way to find me. I'm on Instagram and all that. So appreciate you always coming through and everybody came through. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free, stay true. Appreciate everybody. Till next time, peace. The best. I'm out.